The Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology and Innovation in September said all plastic products should have oxy-biodegradable additives added to make them biodegradable for easy management. And this afternoon, I do have Kranchi Adamatete. He is the Project Coordinator, Plastic Waste Management Program, Ghana. Thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Now, over the years, this issue about plastics is a concern.
Yeah.
As a project coordinator of the association, what do you make of it when you go to town and you see lots of plastics on the streets and it becoming a very big issue for us as a country?
Like you rightly said it, plastics is a major concern. But we always say that plastic in itself is not an issue, but it is the management or the mismanagement of it that makes it an issue. That is why we have engaged with various stakeholders, including the government, over the years to find a lasting solution to the plastic waste problem.
Has it worked?
Yes, basically a lot has gone into it, but the last one...
Has it worked? Yes,
it has not worked to our satisfaction yet. The last one that we thought was going to really change a lot of things was the directive that the Ministry of Environment gave somewhere in November, that all plastics should go oxo-biodegradable. That was a singular effort from the side of government to actually manage plastics. And that was what we also agree so much with. But we have not been able to do that. And that is why I think the minister has come back to give this ultimatum again.
Why haven't you been able to do it?
Basically, the issue of oxo-biodegradable additives is new to a lot of countries, including Ghana. But Ghana is so fortunate that we started the issue of discussing oxo-biodegradable additives with governments way back in 2010. And the government was lackadaisical then. Then in 2015, just this November, the Ministry of Environment bought into the idea. So now it is for the plastic manufacturers to ensure that they put in the oxo-biodegradable additive in the production process. But you see, there is always a tango between the regulator and then the private sector. That means the government and then the private sector. Now the government has come forward, introduced the oxo-biodegradable, and then the private sector, the manufacturers also then now become lackadaisical. But we, from the management of plastic waste, specifically, we see this as an opportunity for the private sector to take the bull by the horn.
Now, if I can cut you there before you continue, you're saying that there's a mismatch between both. This conversation started way back in 2010. Okay, so government comes up to say that let's go ahead and do it. If indeed these conversations were fruitful since 2010, why is this a difficulty for these plastic associations to work out to ensure that everything falls in as planned?
You see, way back in 2010, it was the private sector which was taking the lead, and government was slow then. Now government says, okay, let us go oxo-biodegradable, and then the manufacturers are dragging their feet. What I'm saying, from the angle of the plastic waste managers, we think that this is the opportunity that the private sector must seize. After this point, whatever happens, if government goes ahead to ban, then we cannot blame anybody. But the consequences are so much. That is why we have called on the private sector, I mean the manufacturers specifically, to ensure that we do not give government the opportunity to think that we have always been the problem. So this is the case. Government has given the, it is not that the oxo-biodegradable additive is not in the country. As we speak now, we have the oxo-biodegradable, the rivets in the country. We have over 120 tons in the country. And I think the plastic manufacturers must take good advantage of this, and then we move on from there.
Why is it that they are not taking advantage? Is it that they haven't met with government immediately to sit down and structure how to go about it? Is that the problem?
That is not the case at all. You see, when we met with the Ministry of Environment, together with the Environmental Protection Agency, there were clear guidelines as to how this should proceed. So government says that we cannot open the floodgates for any additive to come in. So let's go back to 2010, whatever was agreed on. Let us see what was approved by the Ghana Standards Board. Unfortunately, we had the rivet, which was approved by the Ghana Standards Board. So government says that let's start using the rivet which is approved. Then any other additive which will come in later can also then go through the process and then it will be approved. But you see, that's why I said the business interest and then the regulators' interest always goes in opposite directions. But I always tell the industry, the plastic industry, that any industry that seeks to regulate itself has no problem with the regulator, because if you allow the regulator to go ahead of you like what is happening now, then you are going to have problems. We are interested in promoting the plastics. We are interested in ensuring that people use litter bins. We are interested in ensuring that the cities are kept clean. But you see, you also need to be responsible for your product. And if government has taken the lead to say that, let us go this way, I think that this is an opportunity we must not miss now, as a private sector.
Have you interacted with them as an association, and do they even seem interested to work on it?
As we speak now, some of the manufacturers have started using the additive. Some of them have started using, but it seems that the majority of them are now coming on. That is why I say that let us not wait for the regulator to go ahead, because if the Ministry of Environment together with the Environmental Protection Agency starts going to factories, closing factories that are not using the oxo-biodegradable down, then it brings another issue. So let us move ahead. Those who have started using it, good. Those who are yet to do, let us move faster so that by the 6 months that the government has given the ultimatum, we will not even be there. Because you see, because before plastics came, how do we package our water? How do we package our fish? How do we package so many other things? So if plastic is helping us, let us continue in that line. Don't let us make it a nuisance that we will continue crying over. As it stands now, it's not only in Ghana. If you go to the high seas, there is a whole island of plastics there. The marine systems are suffering because of the plastics. It's a big issue.
Now, you're saying that some of them are in tune with this now. They've started working on this. Others are now, making up their mind to even be a part of it.
Yeah.
Aside doing the media publicity and campaign and all, what are you doing to rope them in?
Basically, they have a series of meetings together with the Environmental Protection Agency, the Ghana Standards Authority, and then the Ministry of Environment and Science. There has been a series of meetings, and I'm sure this is the last whip that the ministry is going to crack, because the ministry has indicated that it will go into factories to close down factories that are not using the oxo-bio. So I'm sure this is an indication of what is to come. We as plastic waste managers will only encourage both stakeholders to do what is right. Is that all you can do? Yeah, that's, so that in all the meetings that we have had, we try to encourage them, we try to explain, because at the end of the day, it makes the manufacturer look so bad, because if you go to the sea and you see heaps of plastics there, I can tell you, the Vortic, Guinness, Ghana, all of them are embarrassed by this situation. But once that the government has taken the lead to introduce oxo-biodegradable, we need to take the opportunity.
And a bit about recycling also.
Yes, recycling is good. We promoted recycling for about 7 years now, and recycling is growing. That is another area of concern, and these are the areas that we need to iron out, because as we speak now, the recycling industry is challenged because of the importation of the black carrier bags into the country. This is an issue that we are discussing with the Ministry of Trade. So it goes on and on, but we think that the opportunity of introducing the oxo-biodegradable additive is now, and we must seize it before we lose it all.
Thank you very much for your time. I have been speaking with Kranchi Adamatete. He's the project coordinator, Plastic Waste Management.